6:15, this is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Katharine Pereira and read by Lavani Vijayatunga. First, we take a look at the headlines. The President has given directives to make necessary arrangements at the Sri Lanka Transport Board depots to supply fuel to all buses and vans transporting school children. It has been expressed that the security forces have to implement the law of the country according to the Constitution. The Ministry of Education says that all government and government-approved private schools will resume academic activities from Monday. Sri Lanka Railways has announced that the revised train fares will come into effect from today. In news overseas, explosions rock Ukrainian port hours after grain deal. Those were the headlines, and now more to the details of the local news. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has given directives to make necessary arrangements at the Sri Lanka Transport Board depots to supply fuel to all buses and vans transporting school children. The instructions were given to the Transport Minister Bandula Gunawardena at a meeting held at the Prime Minister's office this morning. Accordingly, SLTB depots will be supplying fuel to vehicles engaged in transporting school children starting from 3 p.m. today. President Wickremesinghe at the meeting held this morning to discuss the fuel crisis has directed the relevant authorities to expedite and systemize the fuel distribution process across the country. In addition, supplying fuel to state and privately owned buses engaged in activities related to fisheries, tourism, agriculture and public transport sectors have also been taken up for discussion at length. Accordingly, it was decided that these sectors would be supplied fuel from the SLTB depots and Triforce's camps. Police media spokesman SSP Nihal Thalduwa says that the security forces have to implement the law of the country according to the Constitution when facing obstacles for the safety of the country's law. The duty of the security forces is to strengthen the safety of the country. He made these remarks while participating in a media briefing held today. The Ministry of Education says that all government and government-approved private schools will resume academic activities from Monday. Accordingly, when schools resume, students will be expected to come to school on Mondays, Tuesdays and Thursdays, while online learning methods will be followed on Wednesdays and Fridays, the Education Ministry said. According to the press release, the Ministry of Education has advised the Provincial Council, Provincial Education Secretaries, Provincial Education Directors, Regional Education Directors, Divisional Directors and the Assistant Education Directors in addition to all principals in this regard. This is the news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. And we continue with more local news. Sri Lanka Railways has announced that the revised train ticket fares come into effect from today. The Railways Department had previously announced that the increased train fares would be applied from midnight yesterday. As per the Gazette notification issued in this regard, the minimum train fare is increased from 10 rupees to 20 rupees. Concurrent with the revision of the railway fares for passenger transport, the fares for luggage transport will also be increased. However, the Station Masters Union said its members would continue to issue tickets at existing rates. Chairman of the National Youth Council and Director General Ravindra Samaravikrama says that it is sad to note that severe violent activities were carried out by some groups in disguise of peace protests. He made these remarks while participating in the Athalpatha program of the SLBC today. And to conclude the local news, the headlines once again. The President has given directives to make necessary arrangements at the Sri Lanka Transport Board depots to supply fuel to all buses and vans transporting school children. It has been expressed that the security forces have to implement the law of the country according to the Constitution. The Ministry of Education says that all government and government-approved private schools will resume academic activities from Monday. Sri Lanka Railways has announced that the revised train fares will come into effect from today. And that was the local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Main news story for this evening. The Ministry of Power and Energy says that the fuel issuance under the National Fuel Pass system is being conducted in all 25 districts in the island. This new system is implemented in 25 select fuel stations in the country, and fuel will be issued according to the last digit of the number plate. Accordingly, fuel will be issued today to the vehicles for which the last digit is 0, 1 and 2. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
At a watch like this evening, the water supply will be suspended to several areas in the city of Colombo due to essential maintenance activities. Accordingly, the Water Supply and Drainage Board says that the water supply to Colombo 7, 8, 9 and 10 will be suspended. From that, we move on to the headlines of the world news. Explosions rock Ukrainian port hours after grain deal. Japan reports record high of 200,095 new coronavirus cases. WHO says heat wave kills more than 1,700 in Spain and Portugal. Those were the headlines, and now we move on to the details of the world news. Explosions have rocked a key Ukrainian port just a day after Kiev and Moscow reached a landmark deal to allow the resumption of grain exports. 2 missiles hit the port of Odessa in the early hours of this morning. Ukraine's military said under the terms of yesterday's deal, Russia agreed not to target ports while grain shipments are in transit. The UN has described the deal as a beacon of hope following months of conflict. In a post in social media, the Ukrainian military Southern Commanding Center said 2 missiles hit the port while 2 more were shot down by the air defense system. Health authorities across Japan reported a record high of 975 new cases of COVID today. Tally exceeds the previous record of 195,000 set on Friday, breaking the record for the 4th straight day in a row. The daily count hit a new high in 17 of Japan's 47 prefectures today. The World Health Organization has called for pan-European action to tackle the root causes of climate change as Europe remains locked in the grip of record-breaking heat wave. Media outlets in Europe reported that the mercury hit 45 degrees Celsius in Spain on July 13th and 47 degrees Celsius in Portugal the following day. Temperatures also soared up to 40 degrees in many parts of Britain on Tuesday. In a statement yesterday, the WHO said they have already witnessed more than 1,700 needless deaths in the present heat wave in Spain and Portugal alone. And to conclude the world news, the headlines once again. Explosions rock Ukrainian port hours after the grain deal. Japan reports record high of 200,975 new coronavirus cases. WHO says heat waves kills more than 1,700 in Spain and Portugal. That was the world news, and now let's move on to the development news. Renovation of Mahavadhigama Galwever is being carried out at a cost of 300 billion rupees. It will provide water supply to 350 acres of paddy lands. The project is being implemented by the Irrigation Department. And that was the development news.
Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Moving on to sports news, Sri Lanka Test captain Dimuth Kararatne has confirmed that young spinner Dunith Wellalage will make his Test debut in the second Test match to be played against Pakistan that commenced yesterday. Wellalage, who was scheduled in the initial Test squad, was later released to make him available to play for his school St. Joseph's College at their big match against St. Peter's College. That was the sports news. Business news coming up.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
In business news, earnings from government exports in May 2022 grew substantially by 30% compared to May 2021 to a record $446 million, according to the Joint Apparel Association Forum. Export of garments to all major markets, such as the United States, the European Union, and the United Kingdom, has improved in May this year. That was the business news. Economic news follows.
Business News. Sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSP You Trust.
And in economic news, a project to implement cashew cultivation in 225 acres in the Hambantota and Mirijavale areas is currently underway. 38 cashew cultivators will participate in this project. The objective is to export the cashew harvest to foreign countries. That was economic news, and the weather report to conclude. The Met Department says that showers will occur at times in the Sabaragamuwa province and in the Nuwara Eliya, Kandy, Galle and Mathura districts. Several spells of showers will occur in the western and northwestern provinces. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places elsewhere during the evening or night. And before we conclude this bulletin of news, let's get back to the headlines once again. The President has given directives to make the necessary arrangements at the Sri Lanka Transport Board depots to supply fuel to all buses and vans transporting school children. It has been expressed that the security forces have to implement the law of the country according to the Constitution. The Ministry of Education says that all government and government-approved private schools will resume academic activities from Monday. Sri Lanka Railways has announced that the revised train fares will come into effect from today. And in news overseas, explosions rock Ukrainian port hours after the grain deal. And with that, we conclude this bulletin of news.